So obviously, I would like to speak about digital education in my university. This is the rectorate building. You've seen some of these images into the video which our rector has shown. Our university celebrates 100 years, and my center celebrated 2 years ago, 20 years of existence. And I'm very happy to say that the mayor was the first director of the e-learning center. So it's a long-lasting collaboration between us. So mainly the question to which I'm trying to answer now is, if the university ready for digital transformation? Are we fit for the future? Can we really move to a world where the digital is the lead and where we can use digital wisely, successfully and effectively? So I will say what we have done in our university and also share what is my concept which stands behind all the preparation which we have done probably in the last 10, 15 years. So basically, this is how I see the things. I say that first you do digitization, then you move to digitalization, and then to digital transformation. And all of this is part of the UPT digital education. So first, the digitization. Here you have mainly the tools. You need to have the tools to be able to start the digitization. We call this core. So this is the core of the digital education, the tools, and also how you create and how you are able to use those tools. So it's also content and skills. And those which were able to use this from 15, even 20 years ago, they are called the early adopters, and there are plenty of them. And I will speak a tiny bit about them later. So what we call into this core is obviously a learning management system, but also degree and curriculum management, the attendance monitoring, the learning experience, a MOOC platform, which you are going to see, the website of the e-learning center and the digital education website, and obviously the social media channels. The virtual campus obviously built up on Moodle, started in 2006. Initially, our university used in-house development for a learning environment, and also the WebCT for those who are still remembering that software. And this is how it looked in 2017. And later you will be able to see some photos, some images, sorry, how it looks now. So it was a constant development and a continuous work. And I thank a lot the team of the developers around the virtual campus, which we call it the CEVE UPT. And we have also a mobile application, which is very successful, especially among our students. But this was built through a different kind of project, which was constantly supported through projects via European Union or national projects. One which is very dear to our heart is the Virtual Campus for Digital Students, a project which was building up firstly the idea of Web 2.0 and the use of open educational resources and virtual mobilities in our university. And then obviously UniCampus, which is our first Romanian MOOC, which we started developing since 2014. And there are several courses there and more than 2,000 people online. We mainly put there, beside of some introductory courses, also all of our workshops and trainings and guidelines, what we make for free for everybody to be able to use. And this is, for example, how inside of one of the courses it looks like, and also you can see how some statistics looks in a video which was produced some years ago even. Digitization is also part of the content and skills. You cannot have digitization if you don't train the people and if you don't build up content. We've done this over 25 projects, which also Sandra mentioned, funded by European Union, but also in relations with United States, China, and Canada. And all of this gathered inside the university over 8 million euros over the time. This is the beginning in 1998 at the Open University and also at the Fern Universität in Germany. Some very young people around here, including the mayor and Radu. So, and also me. I want to see who can recognize me. I'm the only woman in some of the photos, so I'm quite easy to be recognized. And this is how it looks much later. So we have been doing development with 54 universities, with 36 companies, 27 NGOs, and we are partnering 4 international associations. Another project which really built up the skills into our university, and not only, also in other 12 universities in Romania, was Didatec, a national project with almost €1.5 million funding, where we train over 1,200 academics, and they develop courses in for online learning, for blended learning. using Web 2.0 technology, and also using and creating open educational resources. In Polytechnica University, we have 300 UPT academics, and we call them the early adapters. Then recently, we had the ABC2VLE Erasmus Plus project. This was able to let us introduce the new concept of the learning design, which is also by creating a lot of tools and showing how we can support and what they are good for in the concept of learning design. For this, we created a lot of guidelines and guides, which are available also free online under the Creative Commons license for everybody to use, and they were quite used by the Romanian universities. The other one is a lot of workshops, conferences. We've been doing since 2013 a series, in fact, 2-4 per year workshops, either about opening up education or about digital competencies, and obviously about girls in tech, and also hosting international conferences. I need to say to our workshops, we had more than 500 unique participants. So we've been able to spread the word about opening up education, about digital competencies, and what digital education stands for. Obviously, we needed to develop content. We developed content even with labs. So we had lab views and also automated, tools and information which were able to get into the lab and to be able to use the lab during that time. And obviously, we've been using a lot of videos with explanation and with H5P tools on top of them to be able to show something more. We created quite a lot of new resources during this year. So this was part of the digitization. The other is digitalization. So building the digital education ecosystem, and you can do this better by collaboration and using co-creators. And for this, we've been doing, a belief, in fact, which we built up over the years, that we need to build up the open lifelong learning student for the future. And we really need to do this. And to be able to do this, we needed to create a different structure of assignments, of teaching, of infrastructure, and even of content delivery, of knowledge, of learning experience for our students. And for this, we created guides and we created a lot of information. And we started doing this, in fact, since 2015. So how we've done it, there are different possibilities. First, we put people into the MOOCs, either ours, or we inform them how they can include other MOOCs or open educational resources into their courses. And also we created virtual mobilities. So the MOOCs is clearly a blended learning flipped classroom model, which we kept speaking over the years about this. We've done a lot of research about the effectiveness of it, so I will not go over this. The other one is how to create co-creators, how to build up students as co-creators. And we came up with this from the assignments. And this is a long-standing, use in our university. Even when I was a student many, many years ago, some of the projects which I've done during my engineering studies were projects which were used later on into the lab or into the companies. But what we made more available is some guidelines on how to be able to create real artifacts, which then can be adapted each year and which can carry on the open educational resources concept and also the Creative Commons licenses. And for this, we created students as co-creators of knowledge and of learning experience. And obviously, we done a lot of research on how to do this. The evaluation is always very, very positive for the students, even if they consider it that it's very difficult for them, that they need to learn more, that sometimes they need to use even 16 different tools to be able to create their assignments, but they really enjoy it and they publish quite a lot of them. Some of the best ones manage to publish papers at conferences or at workshops, and they get some recognition for the work which they've done in the past. There are some examples of the ORs which were created only in the last year, for example. And this is one which is also done in cooperation with the Medical University from Timișoara, from our colleagues from the Computer Science faculty, where is also a demo in Unity, virtual reality, about how to learn about the human skeleton, for example. So this was digitalization. Now it's also virtual mobilities. Since 2008, with my colleague Mark Friedenberg from Bentley University, we've been running international virtual mobilities. For this, we paired students from Romania and from Boston together, 2 and 2, usually in groups of 4, to build up an artifact. So they created, in fact, ORs and knowledge, which was later used either in courses or in the last 2-3 years for our cities to become a smart city or to be Timișoara European Capital of Culture. There are a lot of validity which you can build up in virtual mobilities, especially over such, how to say, a long period of time. So we learned a lot on how to do this. And here, for example, is one of the examples which I told you that is used for Timișoara, and you will be able to test this a tiny bit in the afternoon today. Obviously, then we had an Erasmus Plus project, Open Virtual Mobility, which is going to be presented also in a paper tomorrow. And here we created 24 courses to get ready for virtual mobilities together with our colleagues from 6 different countries and under the lead of Böss University from Berlin. And we built up credentials to organize and to recognize the virtual mobility skills, which is quite important nowadays. So this was our idea about enables and creating the digital education ecosystem. So what did this mean? This meant for us that we were somehow ready to move completely the whole university into remote education. This allowed us to move quite quickly in 13th of March, in fact, without losing any day since the emergency state was put into action by the Romanian government to move online. Until then, only 3 faculties from the universities were fully into the university virtual campus, also with courses, exams, and so on. And they were also using some sort of video conferencing for some of their presentation and some lectures, but not the rest up to 10 faculties. So we had a lot of stress and a lot of work to put everybody online and to build up methodologies, guides, training, and support for this. Obviously, we were using a mixture of the virtual campus of UPT and the video conferences tool which the university has at their disposal. And we built up an entire system and guidelines on how to do students' evaluation and their finals, because including their final diploma work and everything is now delivered online in our university. And this is how nowadays the virtual campus looks like. And we are in the process of evaluating this entire process, what we've been doing now with questionnaires, with staff, and also with students. We done one quite immediately after we gone into the emergency state to see exactly what is the need, and now we want to see what we've done well or not. Here you can see that we moved now to 80 million hits in total over this academic year, which is a huge increase in our virtual campus for the last previous years. And also in terms of resources, you are able, and activities, you are able to see a large increase in the activities. I'm very glad to see that a lot of other type of activities, not only, how to say, files and lecturing and information is there. As I mentioned, there are some lab views and some interactive things. There are a lot of videos which interaction on them. There are a lot of glossary and wikis which are integrated into the virtual campus. And this is how the structure looks like in terms of access of all of our users. Is quite obviously when it was our day of Easter, how much we dropped in during the 2 days of Easter, which wasn't usually the case. But it wasn't, as I said, to build up a digital education ecosystem, you don't build up only tools and content. You need to do also skills and continuous support. So we done 38 trainings and support webinars, about 43 hours, plus a lot of tutorials for our students, which were also for our students and our professors. There were more than 43 tutorials, and I'm so glad that over 40% of them were created by students. The students in master degree of instructional design, they were able to do all of this work and to see it recognized. It was such a joy for them to see that their peers and professors are using the work which they done. And 15% of our work was also done with UPT colleagues, those which I called you that they were the early adopters, which now became enablers of digital education. We had quite a lot of work to support everybody with questions and so on, and messages which were over the time. So we've been able to build up nowadays something which we move to digital transformation. In my view, digital transformation is a tiny bit more than being just digital education. It means changes in the academic culture. It means changes how you see things. We've been doing mostly a sort of blended learning in the last 10 years in our university. Recently, we moved to what we call it remote education. But to really become a fully digital transformed education university, that means that we need to do the learning transformation, we need to adapt fully to this, and to do some changes into academic culture, and to create what I call the digital leaders. To build up this, I think we are already there, and I will say why, because reflecting over I was able in the last weekend, in fact, to reflect a tiny bit of what happened in this wild world of the last 3 months, I've been able to see that this is already somehow happening. And why? Because we started running these Together online webinars with the same name as Eden was running the webinars on Monday. Ours were in every Wednesday. We were involving until now 11 universities and 4 very large student organizations into this. We've done this with IEEE and with Eden Association in a partnership, and we had a lot of participants. More than 2,200 unique participants took part in our webinars. Almost half of them took part in almost 90% of them, so they missed only one. So we had a very high rate of attendance to our webinars, and also to the guides and the information which is on our website. So I can say that I can see now there is an academic culture change towards a digital transformation, not only in my university, but also in our colleagues from other universities, and also from the high school areas in Romania. We built up also Together online open badges. We've been able to award more than 2,200 badges until now in these 10 webinars which we're running. We plan to continue with them from September. We took a break for the summer, and we hope that they are going to be even more successful. Obviously, as I mentioned initially, you need to have a very powerful website and a very powerful social media presence to be able to really call that you are doing digital education and moving towards digital transformation. And for this, we built up areas on our website where there is a lot of free information and a lot of guides and data and methodologies and tutorials, quite a lot of them, which everybody find. Now I would like to briefly go to the closure to something which one of our UPT professor wrote to us in the middle, I think it was in May. I need to say he was a digital reluctant professor, and he said something which was very, touching for us. We've been very impressed by this meaning, and I really hope that this will mean that we can move really to a more powerful digital learning transformation. So this is the idea of what we have built over the last 10, 15 years in my university. As I said, it takes time. It's never happening immediately, and you need to be able to create it from the grassroots. This was our policy. We started with core, skilling, content, and then we built up the strategy and to create the full ecosystem. And I would like to say also that my advice is to try to be different. And because we are all facing the same situation worldwide, and maybe we are going to the autumn also in either a blended learning or a fully online learning, keep still, please renovate the core and explore the new. This is my main message. And because you are never as good only as your team, please let me show you what the e-learning center means to all of us. So these are the distance education courses which we run in 20 years in some of our university. Just mentioned she was here briefly just 3 days before we got the lockdown, right? is our new project, Digital Culture, which I didn't mention, to support the digital competencies for cultural stakeholders. And obviously, we are actively involved in community. We have one of the strongest presence in the Digitală and trying to spread the word of standardization and also how technology can lead to our especially in and this is the other project which you will be able to see tonight in the evening in the guidance. Yes, so thank you very much. These are my credentials, and as I said, this is the team. You've seen it also in the photo which was taken in fact, to my 50th birthday party, which is the only time when we are all in the same room, which is very difficult sometimes, or virtually in the same room. Thank you, everybody, and thank you to my team also for supporting the Eden conference so much during this quite difficult times.